Today, we're diving into something pretty cool in the AI space, the Hybrid LLM Gateway. Basically, it's all about finding a smarter, way more cost-effective way to build apps that use large language models. And trust me, it might just solve one of the biggest headaches for any AI developer out there.
So, let's start with a question that, well, might hit a little too close to home for some of us. Is your AI app a money pit? Seriously, if you've ever launched a new feature and then just watched your cloud bill go through the roof, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Okay, here's the game plan for this explainer. We're going to kick things off with the hidden costs of doing things the standard way. Then, we'll introduce this smarter gateway solution. We'll get into the weeds of how its smart routing actually works, why it's totally production ready, and then wrap up with the big one, why this approach really matters.
All right, first up, let's really dig into those hidden costs of AI. And, what's so broken about the way most people are building their apps today?
The root of the problem is actually pretty simple. Most apps are built to just blindly call a single, super powerful, and, you guessed it, super expensive cloud LLM provider for every single task. Doesn't matter if it's simple or complex, it all goes to the same pricey endpoint.
And this, well, it creates some major headaches. Right off the bat, you get hit with high and totally unpredictable costs. You're also dealing with vendor lock-in, which ties your whole app to one company's ecosystem. You have zero, and I mean zero, control over your routing strategy. And honestly, it's like using a sledgehammer to hang a picture. Just massive overkill for simple tasks.
Which naturally brings us to a much smarter way of doing things. So let's meet the solution to all these problems, the Hybrid LLM Gateway.
So what is this thing exactly? The best way to think of it is as a self-hosted, cost-aware, smart gatekeeper. It sits right between your app and all those language models, and it acts like a traffic cop. It looks at every single request and decides where it should go to get the perfect balance of cost, speed, and power.
And when you look at the architecture, the difference is just night and day. The old way? That's a one-way street straight to an expensive cloud model. But with the gateway, your app suddenly has options. You can send all the simple stuff to a fast, free, local model and save the big guns, the powerful and pricey cloud models, for the real heavy lifting. The benefits here are just huge. First, by default, it uses free local inference, which saves you a ton of money on most requests. Second, it only escalates to those expensive cloud models when it absolutely has to. And third, because this is standalone infrastructure, you can set it up once and reuse it across a bunch of different projects. How cool is that?
So, you're probably wondering, how does this smart routing actually work? What's the magic happening inside this intelligent gatekeeper?
Well, it's actually a pretty simple journey. A request comes into the gateway. The gateway immediately analyzes it based on a few key rules. Now, the default path, the easy path, is to send it straight to that free local model. But if certain conditions are met, it makes the call to escalate and sends it off to the more powerful cloud model.
So the million-dollar question is, when does it escalate? It really comes down to three specific scenarios. One, if the prompt is just too long. The token count is too high for the local model to handle. Two, if the gateway's logic detects a heavy intent in the prompt, meaning it's a really complex question. Or three, if you, the developer, explicitly ask for the large model in your API call.
And if none of those things are true, well, here's the best part. Every other request gets handled by the fast and, most importantly, free local model, which is probably running through a tool like Llama. This is the real secret sauce to its cost-saving power. The default behavior is always the cheapest one.
Now, I know what you might be thinking. Okay, this sounds like a cool weekend project, but is it actually ready for the real world? Let's talk about why this is absolutely production ready by design.
This is not just some simple script, okay? We're talking about a full-featured piece of infrastructure. You've got the smart routing, of course, but it also has robust API key authentication, it's a true local and cloud hybrid, and it's even ready for Retrieval Augmented Generation, or RAG. Oh, and it's fully Dockerized, so deploying it is a breeze. Let's just double-click on that security feature for a second. This is proper enterprise-grade API key authentication. The keys are stored and validated using Redis, which is super fast, and it comes with all the stuff you'd expect, like rate limiting and daily usage caps. This thing is built for serious production use. And if you look under the hood, the tech stack is all solid, reliable, industry-standard tools. We're talking Node.js with the Fastify framework for the backend, Redis for managing the keys, a Llama for local inference, and Docker to wrap it all up. No weird experimental stuff here.
Okay, let's zoom out for this last section and talk about why this whole approach is such a big deal. What's the bigger picture here for all of us developers building with AI?
On the most practical level, it really just comes down to this. I mean, this chart tells the entire story, right? The cost of running a cloud-only AI app can be just insanely high and unpredictable. But by putting a hybrid gateway in the middle, you can crush that cost, bringing it way down while still getting top-tier performance when you need it. But you know what? It's about more than just saving a few bucks. This is about taking back control, real control, over your infrastructure, over your costs, and over your entire AI strategy. You're no longer just a passive customer of a single big API. You become the architect of your own intelligent system.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. The creator of this project sums up the whole philosophy perfectly. They said, this project is intentionally API-first, infra-focused, and reusable across multiple applications. It's designed from the ground up to be a foundational building block.
So I'll leave you with this one critical question to think about, especially if you're in this space. Is your AI infrastructure working for you, or are you working for it? Constantly fighting those unpredictable costs and feeling trapped by vendor lock-in? It's definitely something to think about. Thanks for tuning in to this explainer.